were, they were the best. They were as best as they could be, and it's just a shame that they couldn't find a way of scoring tries against PNG because they only scored that one raggy one, didn't they, right at the start?
Yeah. Final game of the third round of group fixtures then. England confirmed their place in the quarterfinals with a 36 points to 6 victory over the French. Widdop, Ratchford, Graham, Percival Bateman and a brace from Jeremy Gilvray were for England, where Ben Garcia got the consolation try for France. That cheeky little effort.
Yeah, so Brian Davis said, excellent first half hour. I predicted to the wife that we'd fizzle and fade as the game wore on, and true to form we did. My Bezzy Kev Brown was a star in this game. People slagged his inclusion in the squad, but he should be judged on what he does for England, not what he doesn't do at Wire.
Yeah.
George Williams was an absolute shambles and doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the squad for the rest of the tournament.
There you go. Dr. Hideous said, awful. Yeah, we won convincingly, but if we continue to drop the ball all over the place like that, I can see PNG doing us over in the quarter-final, and never mind the semis.
St David said, very good first half with our most convincing attacking structures so far. Lost our way again in the second. Some interesting selection questions. For what it's worth, he said he would stick with Widdop, Brown, Gale, Roby. I would also go with Percival in the centre as what shock, and use Bateman in the second row. And Frog said,
no, don't worry about that. I'll put that in the wrong place. That should have been in for the Ireland and Wales game.
Well, let's say it then, because we didn't say it before.
Yes.
He said, yes, they made a bunch of errors, but I still say the Wolfhounds play well enough to progress into the finals. The system is flawed. Knowles, Morris, Grace Amor and LMS all represented themselves well in this game for the most part. I'd certainly agree Amor, Knowles and LMS did. That scrambling defence was still present in this game. I still can't get over that they aren't going through. I can't speak.
There you go. I even took the time to change his name to Frog Moi in honour of it being about the England-France game. Just didn't read his content.
No.
There you go.
No, there you
Slacking. We're going to be saying a lot of the same things in a few minutes when we talk about England's quarter-final, but playing well enough to win. Just, it would be nice to see us string together a solid 40 minutes, never mind a solid 80 minutes, in terms of the number of errors and just penalties that we're giving away and stop-start nature of our play. Because at times we get going, we're blowing teams away, and we came out really fast against the French. Oh, fucking hell, we're going to put 80 points on these at the minute. We were, caning them first 20 minutes, and then maybe we thought, that's it, job done. Cue on the rack time, but I would have liked to have seen us push it home and hammer that victory in. What do you reckon? What did you make of it?
Well, I'm getting the two games muddled up in my head. The two England games, probably that we're going to talk about, probably because they did follow such a...
See, now I'm questioning myself, maybe I am.
Similar pattern, but Jerry was amazing after his reprieve,
and deservedly so. Deserved reprieve.
And people slagging Bateman, but he made 129 metres, scored a try in this game, and I'm pretty sure he was involved in some of the plays that helped Ratchford get one as well. We just won the game early on and left it. Yeah. There was then changes got made to how the team was set up. I can't even remember how it ended up in the end. Like the last two group games got really mixed up. What Bryce said about George Williams is very fair comment. I don't know. He didn't come into this tournament in his brightest of form, and I don't think not getting used how he would want to be used at all is then going to help him. But it didn't matter because Hodgson's done okay, Roby's been outstanding, and they're actually hookers. And Brown and Gale started to show something. They started to show that it wasn't just Sean O'Loughlin who could straighten up a defence and pass the ball out the back. Yeah. So it actually meant that you had two players doing that one after the other. You'd have Lockers doing it, and then you'd have Brown doing it, and that would make Widdop's job, the fullback's job, so much easier than it had been before, and that helped to make Widdop look great. And Luke Gale and Kevin Brown linked up, whereas Widdop and Gale were struggling to link up. So
I definitely think we found the right combo at 6, 7 and 1.
Yeah, you've got to give credit. I wouldn't have put him in the squad because
but he's coming
because of what he was up to before in terms of how he was playing and when he was playing and where he was playing. But you can't. Bennett's better than us on. Bennett's been better than us on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think
anyone thought that Wayne Bennett knows how to coach a team.
I don't think the other players who came in for the sort of first action, McMeekan and Taylor, I don't think they did it anywhere near enough.
No.
The only chance McMeekan had was that Whitehead wasn't going so great, but he didn't do enough to say,
well, that's my turn.
I'm the man to come in. James Graham made over 100 metres, but he was the only forward that did. And yeah, it was, Jerry show, nearly 200 metres again. It was fantastic. Percival did okay in the right centre. I don't think he was excellent or poor. I don't think he had much opposition. To be completely honest, I don't think the French backline was very strong at all, other than Ilias Bergel, who made 131 metres, and that made him, spring to my attention even more so than he had from that really strong try-scoring run he had at Swinton at the end of the season. And Lee have got a good one there.
Yeah,
they've got a good one. Did you have anything else that you could remember from
just that James Roby should be our hooker at all times? But I'm going to be saying that for the remainder of the World Cup, I suspect.
Possibly so. I just wanted to touch on the Garcia try, because it was garbage defending, obviously.
Oh, it was atrocious.
That huge dummy and run around himself.
It was like park football, wasn't it? That's the sort of thing you...
But the one thing it did make me think is England's susceptibility in defence, and it's been a very small susceptibility, but it's been close to their line in the last 5 to 8 minutes of either half. That's the only time they've really come up short.
Yeah.
And that's an area that Bennett needs to make sure is right for this upcoming game. But there you go.
Okay, so that was the group fixtures taken care of, which meant we went into the quarter-finals. Australia took on Samoa, Tonga took on Lebanon, England played Papua New Guinea, and what was the other ones before we start reviewing? And New Zealand took on Fiji. So the first game...
How can you forget that one?
First game of the quarter-finals weekend last weekend saw Australia handsomely defeat Samoa 46 points to nothing. 5 tries for Val Holmes, Billy Slater, and 2 for Morgan.
Yeah, Brian Davies said, bloody hell, it's hot in Darwin all the time. Game was played in an AFL oval, so temporary seating was installed to get you closer to the action. Samoa were very poor in this one, and I had hoped they might put up more of a fight. Valentine Holmes seemed to enjoy himself, though, with 5 tries. Darwin is known as the top end, and they were clearly delighted to get such a match up there with a sellout crowd.
Fantastic, yeah. Hot part of the world, that, wasn't it? Australia doing the job. And handsomely so. They keep rumbling on, don't they? They're the clear and obvious favourites to lift the trophy.
Yeah, and really, this didn't go any different way to what we were expecting.
No, far from it.
Sadly, Valentine Holmes' record 5 tries is really great. Some of them showed off, his great skill. He had 225 metres, which is huge. He scored some nice tries. Some of them did seem a little bit processional.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that they were all hard fought.
No.
But that doesn't mean that he didn't deserve what he got out of the game. I don't... Can I say I didn't think Australia were that good in this game?
You can say that, yeah. They didn't have a lot to do, though, did they?
No, they didn't, but they didn't... For the second game in a row, I wasn't like, wow, these guys are amazing.
But I think they're keeping their powder dry as well. I think they know that they're more than good enough, and I think that's the professionalism of the outfit. They know exactly what level to hit, and they're building now, I think.
I think this was the first choice side. Now, they didn't...
of course, they keep the squad together, but I think they're building in terms of intensity.
They only made 8 errors and completed 84%, but it felt like a lot lower than that during the game. Maybe they did just play slow because of the heat in Darwin. Maybe that's what I was sort of feeling without realising that's what I was feeling. But Samoa offered very, very little. I mean, Ben Roberts, his kicking game was terrible. BJ Leilua was just dropping everything. He wasn't making he does what he does. He tries so hard to be like influential all the time, but when he has a stinker,
he stinks the place out.
It just doesn't. It doesn't often feel like he has like a good 30 minutes, then a bad 10 minutes, then a good 40 minutes. It always feels like he is always pushing it too much and always behind the 8 ball and never quite being good. Or it'll be great for 60 minutes and the game's won for his side and then he can have fun.
Yeah.
And this is never good. But in the Samoa team, it's never really going to get to that point against a side like this. I just don't think... I've been disappointed with the forwards as well for
Samoa, or for Australia.
For Samoa in this tournament.
Yeah.
And I know they didn't have maybe as much depth as you would expect them to going into this game and stuff, but I don't think Junior Paulo has been what I think he's capable of. And I really don't think that SASE is a physical he just doesn't feel like a physical presence whenever I've seen him play. So it wasn't an hard game for Australia.
No, they got through it. Okay, what was a hard game though was Tonga versus Lebanon, Mark. 24-22 to the Tongans, nearly slipping up. And what a slip up it would have been. Lola here, Fusitua with a brace, and Hopawati for the Tongans. Douay, Elias, and Tufamiski for the Lebanese.
And Brian Davies said, Tonga were well off the pace compared to their previous match against the Kiwis. Real nip and tuck type of game that they were hoping wouldn't run away from Lebanon. A couple of tough calls for Lebanon, but ultimately the best side won, and Lebanon have had a great World Cup. The scenes on social media of the Tongans celebrating were brilliant. Who wouldn't want to sample that Tongan atmosphere?
Well, we're going to get to. But do you think Tonga have done a lead? Do you think they've had their final? Do you think there was so much emotion around the idea of playing against the Kiwis and so much tension and build up to it that might be them done? Or do you think that this was their brain fart and they'll come back stronger in the semis?
I think that factor affected their output in this game. But I don't think that that's them spent as a spent force. One of their players who's been absolutely incredible so far this tournament is Takiaho, who didn't play in this game. Offahengawi replaced him in the starting lineup, made over 100 metres still, but it didn't quite feel like he was. They didn't quite feel like they had that three forwards that just controlled the game when they were on the field, because they only had two of them out there. Now Tamalolo made another 180 metres. It's unbelievable what he's doing. I don't think the bench did enough for them in this game for Tonga, and so that gave Lebanon a chance. I think Lebanon did what they've been doing, which was a very controlled game. They did nothing exciting, nothing flashy for the most part. I just don't like the way Lebanon have played.
No, okay.
So I didn't think they deserved it, even though they had a cruelish disallowed try, didn't they, for the
cruelish is the best way to describe it, because
I think it was the right call, but I feel for them for it. I never quite felt like they had enough, even though it was all them in the second half. They only really scored. Well, they scored one try, didn't they?
Yeah.
And kicked a goal. So I nenever thought they were. They never looked threatening enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you, yeah.
Maybe Tonga had a gear they could have gone into if they really needed to in that last 10 minutes, but instead they just shut it down and stifled a team that didn't have that.
Doesn't have that
extra.
attacking third.
I mean, Moses showed you what he can do in the game against France in the last 10 minutes of that game, but this was against a much more brutal, imposing, physical machine up against you, and they just couldn't stop getting in their own way in that last 10 minutes. They couldn't when they tried to put something on, because they spent 2 games not putting anything on and just trying to annoy the opposition.
Yeah,
they didn't have that going for them. For me,
there you go.
But Tonga, a dip, but I think there was reasons for that. There was people. Well, there was a player missing who's been exceptional, and there was the emotional turnaround, and they probably went into this one expecting it to be a bit easier as well. One player who I will give credit to was Conrad Hurley. He made 165 metres in this game. No errors, which isn't very handling errors. Con Hurley. And I just thought he was physically imposing in this game again, and his winger scored another couple of tries for the two. Showed his finishing prowess in this one.
There you go. Okay, so third quarter final. New Zealand proved that it wasn't a fluke and got beaten by another Tier 2 nation. 2 points to 4. No tries in this one, but Johnson kicked the New Zealand goal, and it was Coruscant and Milne for Fiji.
Yeah, Brian Davies said, "Watch this one in the pub in Melbourne with the wife and a lad called Paul from Sheffield."
As you do.
An amazing afternoon on the pop, followed An amazing afternoon on the pop, and following from the previous Tonga game, we were well stewed by the time this game finished. A truly stunning result, which has